Well, we just learned a short while ago that the Steelers will be without their top target and Russell Wilson's top playmaker, and that is George Pickens, who gave the Ravens fits in Week 11 and has given the Ravens fits in the past. Just last month, he finished with a team high and a game high, 8 receptions for 89 yards on 12 targets. That was an average catch of 11.1. And so he's given the Ravens problems. Not going to be the case. He will not be available. He's been ruled out for the third consecutive week with a hamstring. TJ Watt is expected to go. He's dealing with an ankle sprain. Deshaun Elliott was upgraded on Thursday to limited, but he's doubtful. Dante Jackson and Larry Ogunjobi look like they're going to give it a go, but they're both listed as questionable. Justin Fields with an abdominal, sort of their strategic quarterback. He played a part in that Ravens game the first time around. Couple quarterback designed runs, couple keepers from Justin. The Ravens were ready for one of them. Actually, were they ready for either one of them? I can't remember. Actually, don't think they were. Mike Tomlin dialed that up nicely there. And I remember he slid short of the line to gain, I believe. Anyway, long story short, Fields will not be an option for them. He's been ruled out. Pickens has been ruled out. PQ is good to go. TJ Watt is good to go. Cameron Hayward, their stud defensive tackle, is good to go. But looking like no Deshaun Elliott, hard-hitting safety, who talked a bunch of junk before the first time these two teams met, and no George Pickens. So I guess the question becomes, what do the Steelers look like without their top target offensively? Well, Jonas Schaefer took a look, courtesy of True Media. It looks vastly different. That's the short answer. Their yards per play, I was going to say jumps, but it doesn't jump. It jumps down if that's possible. How about shoots down? It goes from 11th to 32nd, their offense, in terms of yards per play. Success rate, 18th to 32nd. Again, these are steep drop-offs. We're talking about 11th to dead last, 18th to dead last, and their explosive play rate goes from 13th to dead last. This is a better than average offense with George Pickens in terms of these metrics, or right around average, to literally the depths of the league when number 14 is not out on the field. He presents a vertical threat. It's Russell Wilson's favorite target with his famous moon ball. George is a silky route runner, a certified dog, and somebody that embodies everything that a Steeler is meant to embody, you would think. And the Ravens have obviously had to deal with him, and they've had a lot of struggles in doing so. Another struggle for Lamar and company is ball security when they play their bitter rival. And Todd Monken did not mince words this week. He said, quote, "I've been here for 3 games against Pittsburgh. We've turned it over 8 times. We've fumbled it 7 times. Hasn't been pretty. And Lamar's game and Lamar's numbers in 5 games, they haven't been pretty either. He's got 11 total giveaways, just 5 total touchdowns, a passer rating average of 66.2, just 5 passing touchdowns and 8 picks. And his offense puts up 19 points per game on average. And as we've all talked about over and over and over again, it's just a 1-4 record. That is tied for worst or worst in every single category when you look at Lamar's body of work and resume across the league. The Steelers have had Lamar's number. Dan Orlovsky thinks that Mike Tomlin knows exactly what he wants when it comes to defending Lamar.
Be won by Baltimore if Lamar plays his best game.
Absolutely.
This is
not a Derrick Henry game.
Correct. This is the X's and O's of it. Pittsburgh is going to put an extra person down to the football, and they're going to say, you're not going to run the ball on us. We're not going to allow you to be two-dimensional. We want you to be one-dimensional. I honestly believe, in my gut, Mike Tomlin wants the ball in Lamar Jackson's hands. He wants him to feel that pressure. He wants him to kind of play to the style that they force Lamar to play. And I don't think that Mike Tomlin, again, I don't want to put, he 100% respects him, but he thinks he's got his number. He thinks there's a certain style of play, to Teddy's tape, that compression of the pocket, that he can control the game. He does not want to play with two safeties deep and say, Baltimore, run the football on us.
So he knows he's got Lamar's number. The numbers reflect that Mike Tomlin has Lamar's number. But make no mistake about it, there have been other factors as well that suggest that Mike Tomlin has the Ravens number, not just Lamar. We can think of that loss last year where his pass catchers had 7 or 8 drops. We can think about just last month in week 11 when Justin Tucker misses 2 field goals in a 2-point game. 12 penalties on top of that. It's not always all about Lamar. With that said, these numbers are significant. What's also significant is this. Aaron Schatz, the creator of DVOA, the one voter, by the way, who did not cast one for Lamar last year, keeping him away from a second unanimous MVP. I guess that's neither here nor there. But some interesting context that he provides earlier today. And he asked the hypothetical, does Lamar have a history of bad games against the Steelers? Not as much as he has a history of just not playing against Pittsburgh. And this is something that we've referenced throughout the week. This will just be the second game ever that Lamar's played Pittsburgh in a head-to-head at home in Baltimore. 2023, remember the regular season finale? Just as he was in the regular season finale 2019, both of which were MVP seasons, he was inactive. They had already locked up the first round bye and the top overall seed in the conference. No need to play. In 2022 and 2021, injuries. We all remember how those years ended for him. He missed both of them in 2022, and he missed the second Ravens-Steelers game in 2021. In 2020, COVID sidelined him for the second Ravens-Steelers game, and in 2018, he had not yet taken over for Joe Flacco as the starter. So he didn't make either one of those Ravens-Steelers games. So yes, the 1-in-4 sample size is something that we should discuss, and we continue to. We do. We continue to. But he's also missed a ton, and the majority of these games, meaning 4 of the 5 games that he has played against the Steelers, it's been in Pittsburgh. And we all know the difficulty when it comes to playing at Heinz Field, a.k.a. Acrisure Stadium. Lamar and company hoping that home field advantage can absolutely be a thing coming up on Saturday. Christmas weekend, a division on the line, Ravens-Steelers rivalry, a 4:30 window game for the A team on Fox. There's a lot to love about everything that this matchup presents, what's at stake. And obviously the Ravens are trying to turn things around here when it comes to this specific matchup. They have lost 8 of their last 9, including 4 in a row to their rival. It's been very, very unbalanced. One more nugget on the George Pickens side of things from a guy who knows a thing or two about wide receivers. Steve Smith Sr. weighs in on number 14 not being available for Pittsburgh, having been ruled out.
Recipe for the Pittsburgh Steelers is you have to run the ball to make the game the downfield throws. But without George Pickens in the game, their passing game is ineffective.
Ineffective, he refers to Pittsburgh's passing game without George Pickens as part of the equation. The question for Baltimore, if Bateman and Aguilar cannot go, and you have Zay Flowers as wide receiver 1, Tylen and others, meaning Devontae, whoever else you want to include or call up potentially from the practice squad. What kind of effect, what kind of impact will the wide receiver room have in a game where you better believe Mike Tomlin and company are going to do what they always do? Make Lamar Jackson one-dimensional. It's a big game for the tight ends. Isaiah Likely began the year hot, and he hasn't done a whole lot since in terms of productivity offensively wise. The full injury report is as follows. I know a lot of you are calling for Devontae Walker. I'd pump your brakes a little bit. I get it. It was a sweet toe tapper. He waited his turn all year long. When his number was called, he answered the bell. But this is a player who was inactive 8 games for a reason leading into week 15. So Nelly's been listed as questionable. Bateman has been listed as questionable and was seen with a boot on his foot, walking boot, earlier today by reporters. Downgraded to a DNP today after being limited on Wednesday and no designation on Tuesday. Jalen Armour-Davis is out. Fa'alele is questionable with a knee. Justice Hill, Adisa Isaac, both good to go, cleared. Deontay Johnson for reasons that we've already discussed. Sanusi Kane, cleared. Adafe Owe, questionable with an ankle. TJ Tampa. More on him in just a second, the rookie. And Ardarius Washington's been cleared as well after popping up with an ankle. As for TJ Tampa, the Iowa State product, the Ravens selected in the 4th round, if I'm not mistaken? He's been activated from injured reserve. His 21-day practice window ended this week, so he will be eligible to return on Saturday against the Steelers. I can already hear what you guys are saying. You want him to take Brandon Stevens snaps. You got to be careful with a player that has been down for the last month. You're not going to throw him into the fire, but I'm sure he'll get some special teams opportunities and would love to see him get his chances as he develops. As for this Ravens offense, the most rushes of 10-plus yards this season owned by a few different guys on this list, and cracking the top 5, which is led by Saquon Barkley. Lamar Jackson has 32 rushes of 10-plus yards this season, and Derrick Henry has 31. Lamar, just a historic season. His peers just cannot stop talking about him, including a dude that came before him and also was renowned at one point in his career for his dual threat abilities and is absolutely a Super Bowl winner from his time in Seattle and is now QB1 in Pittsburgh. That's Russell Wilson.
The rushing yards by a quarterback that Michael Vick, the record that Michael Vick has. What's impressed you maybe about the way that Lamar runs the ball as a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think guys like Michael Vick, Lamar, there's been some special guys running the football. He's a unique individual. I think that anytime he has the football in his hands, he's special. It's been cool to watch. Just over the years, people doubt him. And his ability to make plays. I think anytime you're rushing for over 5,000, 6,000, how many yards he's got, it's pretty remarkable in itself, no matter what position you play. And then also too, he's been able to do it, throwing the football as well. So he's a tremendous football player.
Along those lines, when he breaks Michael Vick's record, would that solidify him in your mind as the best ever dual threat quarterback?
That's a pretty good question. I haven't really thought about it. I think he's definitely one of them for sure. You think about the greats like Michael Vick. He was the one that just really lit up the whole stadium. The guy from Virginia. By the way, congrats to Michael Vick on the Norfolk State. My grandfather was president of Norfolk State for a long time. But I think that guys like Lamar for sure. Michael Vick. Those guys are unique individuals in what he can do. So I couldn't disagree with it. That's for sure.
Oh, the then and now. Russ Wilson giving some love to Lamar Jackson. He'll turn 28 next month. This will be his 101st game in the NFL coming up on Saturday. And look at where he ranks across the league. Just about first in every category that matters. Passer rating, yards per pass attempt, pass touchdown percentage, touchdown to interception differential, drop back EPA, passing and rushing yards, passing and rushing touchdowns combined, 37 of those suckers. Red zone passer rating. Baltimore's red zone has been nothing short of efficient and dominant inside the 20s. A lot of that has to do with Todd Monken and, of course, the King as well. Rushing yards per carry average, rushing and passing yards combined, passing touchdowns, interception percentage, passing yards. He's first in all but 3 of those categories, and it's passing touchdowns, interception percentage, and passing yards. And he's top 5 in every single one of them. And he's top 2 in passing touchdowns and interception percentage. It's historic by every metric. And he's 109 rushing yards away from surpassing Michael Vick, who you heard Brooke Pryor ask Russell Wilson about. 109 yards will surpass Michael Vick for the most quarterback rushing yards in NFL history. This is Lamar's 7th season. It's only his 92nd start, if I'm not mistaken. Over 6,000 rushing yards. This is one-of-one stuff. This is the type of stuff that makes you pause and acknowledge and appreciate the moments that Lamar is giving you in this market, in this city, with this organization. And yet, with all those numbers, the Steelers and the Chiefs really remain the only 2 teams that can say that they've got Lamar down. They've got Lamar solved. And you see some of the numbers on the left-hand side of the graphic that we've already discussed. That didn't stop Cam Hayward from talking up Lamar and certainly giving him quite an endorsement, indirectly, I'll say, but quite the endorsement for NFL MVP this year.
The most electric guy in the league right now. The shiftiness, the play extension, he's second to none in that regard. He's got an arm that's a cannon, and each week you just see a highlight by him. So I don't think anybody really compares to him right now.
I don't think anybody really compares to him right now. Do not tell Bills Mafia that. They are not going to be pleased.